Just when you thought that maybe things were going to slow down a bit, you could not be more wrong. Jimmy Butler has been traded to the Golden State Warriors. This is an absolutely huge blockbuster trade. It is one of many that has gone down at this year's deadline. This ended up being a 5-team deal. I will read you everything that I have at the time that this video is being recorded, which is approximately 8:45 on the night that this deal went down on Wednesday. Now, I will try to keep it short, but it is a 5-team deal. The Golden State Warriors are getting Jimmy Butler. The Miami Heat are getting Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, and a future first-round pick from the Warriors. It's top 10 protected this year. It's top 10 protected next year. Then it'll be unprotected in 2027. The Detroit Pistons are getting Lindy Waters III and Josh Richardson, along with a future second-round pick. The Utah Jazz are getting Dennis Schroeder, and the Toronto Raptors are getting Kyle Anderson. This is insane. I tweeted it out. I've said it before. I don't think this deadline will ever be beat. I think this is better than multiple years of past free agencies that we've seen, and this is just what the new modern NBA is going to be. It feels like with the new CBA that, the blockbuster free agent signings have almost in some ways been eliminated, but the free agency has now kind of transitioned into a deadline madness, as of course we've seen play out over this week. But this is crazy. After months of being disgruntled, Jimmy Butler finally gets his wish, ends up getting traded to the Golden State Warriors and signing a 2-year extension as well. I'll give you some more of my thoughts once we get into this rebuild, but again, man, I just don't think that these past 5 or 6 days of NBA trades are really ever going to be beat. I just think we're at the point where it feels like something's going to happen every single day, and something that is really going to change the landscape of basketball. So I'm excited for this one, man. I'll tell you right now, as a Celtics fan, I'm excited that Jimmy is out of my conference. I am not excited that he is pairing up with my father, Steph Curry, but this is going to be a super fun one for basketball reasons. Obviously, you got 2 alpha personalities there with Steph, with Jimmy, and I think this is going to be a really fun duo to watch. So we'll get into some more of my thoughts once we get into this one, but my God, man, let me know all your thoughts down below. What a week it has been so far. As we have been throughout all of these videos so far, especially at the trade deadline, we are, of course, here using Start Today. It makes all the sense in the world, given that these moves are, of course, happening at the deadline. Now, the Golden State Warriors currently sit at 25-24 at the recording of this video, and, I like the move. I like that they got Steph some help in Jimmy Butler. My one concern is that, is it enough? Is it enough to be a serious threat in the Western Conference? We've obviously seen Steph do a lot with not a ton of help. He obviously had a ton of help when he was winning, the majority of his championships, but I think a lot about that 22 run, and obviously it came at the expense of my team losing, but he didn't really have another superstar next to him, and he was obviously able to do a whole lot of things on the basketball court. So I don't know what's going to happen with this Warriors team. If I were to take a guess, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily true contenders, but I think anything can happen, especially when you pair up Steph and Jimmy. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this roster right now. So the trade has been put through, the best I can, right? You can't do a 5-team deal in 2K. I moved around every player, and specifically for the Warriors, everybody that is no longer on this team in real life is no longer on this roster here in 2K. So not everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be, but it's about as good as it's going to get until 2K updates it. At least. All right, man. Starting out here at the point guard spot, which is now legitimately just Steph Curry. Of course, you got freaking Pat Spencer here as well. But Steph Curry's 36, and obviously his time is not a long way to go. He probably has 3, 4, maybe 5 years left, and who knows how much longer he's going to be, this version of Steph Curry. So, I applaud the Warriors for getting him some help. Is Steph still a top 3 player in the world? I don't think we're there at this point, but he's still really, really good. And I know he's been somewhat struggling recently, but I don't want anybody to think that Steph Curry can't just flip a switch and turn it on, because I almost guarantee you that he could. So I'm happy they got him help. I really do think that he deserves it. I mean, they're at the point of his career where I don't know if Steph's going to get another championship. I don't know if he's going to have another championship run. I hope that this team can be competitive because, whether you want to admit it or not, I think basketball's a lot more fun when the Warriors are competitive. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, but of course, he's not going anywhere throughout this rebuild. We head to the shooting guard spot. I'll be interested to see the way they go about this starting 5, because I think Steve Kerr has a lot of different options, to kind of pick from at this point. There's a world out there where maybe they play Jimmy Butler at the 2-guard spot. I don't think that's necessarily out of the question. You could make an argument to have Podziemski in the starting 5. Of course, they could go back to having Buddy Hield in that starting 5, who started out really, really well with Golden State and has come back down to earth in a really, really big really, really sad way. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet. Again, there's a lot of different ways we can go about this. We'll certainly sort that out. Now, Jimmy Butler, the man of the hour, the star that has been disgruntled for, again, what seems like this whole season at this point, right? He was looking for a big fat extension from the Miami Heat. Pat Riley basically said it's not going to be coming, and he pretty much ever since that point has just not really been with the Heat, right? You know, he's played a few games, but it really wasn't Jimmy Butler out there. And, you know, he gets traded to Golden State. He was one of the destinations that apparently, or they were one of the destinations that he was apparently okay with. I think, you know, Phoenix seemed like the logical landing spot for a lot of different reasons, but that math just got way too complicated after Bradley Beal said he was not going to waive that no trade clause. So as you can see, it's a 3-year deal he's currently on. If I read all the tweets correctly, I believe that he is opting out of his player option this offseason, of course, that being for the 25-26 campaign, and signed a fresh new 2-year, roughly $121 million extension. So that number is not 100% accurate just because 2K won't let me put a dollar amount that high, but I believe if I am reading that correctly, it should be 3 years technically that Jimmy is under contract with the Warriors. Well, 2.5 if you're counting this year, but I think we're on the same page. All right, Gary Payton behind him, a surprising other piece that I think could be moved. I think he could have been a salary filler in maybe a bigger deal for like Kevin Durant. Of course, Kevin Durant had publicly almost come out and said that he didn't have much interest in going back to Golden State, so that kind of fell through. But Gary Payton, I think, is another name that could look to move. I don't know how much value he has out there outside of being a salary filler, but we'll keep an eye on it. 22-year-old Moses Moody will certainly be in this rotation. I plan on developing him as much as possible. We head to the power forward spot. This is going to be an interesting one because I think when we're looking at the Warriors, not just for the rest of this year, but as we head into this offseason and, of course, next year as well, I think Draymond Green's going to be a big name that has to be talked about quite a bit. I think ultimately Draymond has a pretty bad reputation, and I think the majority of that reputation comes from a lot of his actions on the court, but at the end of the day, the Golden State Warriors aren't a dynasty without Draymond Green. If you're looking at stats, maybe you can say that's not the case, but if you actually watch the game of basketball, you realize how important Draymond Green is and really was to that Warriors dynasty. That being said, I don't know if they look to move him this offseason, right? He's got 2 years left at $50 million total, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to include him in a bigger deal if they get through the rest of this season and just kind of realize that, you know, Steph and Jimmy alone are maybe not enough offensively to hopefully get back to the finals. So I'm not saying that's 100% fact. I'm just saying it's certainly a possibility. Oh, good God. What in the world is going on here? Oh, Kyle Anderson won't be traded to the Raptors, could stay with the Heat or be moved elsewhere. All right, he's not on the team. It's fine. So I know that Draymond will be here, you know, past the deadline. I don't think they're going to move him right now, but I would not be surprised if they maybe considered a few different trade options come this offseason. Now, Jonathan Kuminga is a guy I want to get into the starting five, whether that's at the power forward spot, the small forward position. I'm going to find a way to get him in here. I think developing him, who's only 22 years old, as much as possible makes pretty much all the sense in the world for me right now, right? I mean, we have a team that is good. I wouldn't say they're super great, but I think not playing him the most minutes possible doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. And then you got Guy Santos here as well, who's only 22. He's come on nicely. He's a 74 overall now and will likely be in this rotation. We'll keep an eye on how his development goes. And then finally, the center spot, which is a position I think they are probably looking to upgrade all along. You know, the center market's weird. It seemed like they had some conversations with the Bulls about a Nikola Vucevic deal. Really never came to fruition in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, no disrespect to TJD or Kevon Looney. I just don't know if they're starting centers on a hopeful contending team. So we'll keep an eye on that. There's certainly something we're going to do throughout today's video, but I do think that they could look for an upgrade there likely come this offseason. All right, man, that is it. You know, that's what we're working with right now. I'm going to address this starting five, I think, the best way that I can possibly do so. Again, this is now going to be an older team, at least in terms of the stars, right? I mean, 36-year-old, 95 overall Curry, 35-year-old, 86 overall Jimmy, Draymond, 34, he's an 82. So, you know, there's not a long timeline here, both in 2K and real life. So, you know, I think the Warriors are going to continue to be aggressive, especially come this offseason, but I do think that this team will be better. That kind of would be hard to not be, but I do think that there still may be a move or two away. So we'll keep an eye on everything. I'm not going to make any other moves right now. I'm going to wait until the first offseason, but we are definitely going to move some positions around. And again, just so we're all on the same page, this is not a realistic rebuild. I'm going to be making trades this offseason that are not even going to be anything close to realistic. What your definition of realistic is, I don't really know because, again, we just saw Luka Doncic get traded. So that's it, man. Let's go ahead and set this rotation. Actually, maybe I want to make one move because no disrespect to Pat Spencer, I don't think he's going to cut it as the backup to Steph Curry. So, yeah, maybe I'll consider one thing. Again, please understand I'm not trying to be realistic right now, but I need a backup point guard that is a little bit of an upgrade, and 37-year-old Mike Conley is going to be that. So I don't really know why they're interested in Gary Payton and 3 second-round picks, but if they want to give me Mike Conley and a future first, I'm pretty much going to take that 10 times out of 10. So again, not really realistic, but that's not really the goal right now. All right, let's set the 10-man rotation. We obviously had to make some tough decisions. Somebody was not going to be in this rotation, and we ultimately made a decision that I think is going to work best for this team here in 2K. I'm not talking about the real world right now. Here's how it's going to look. Starting 5, this is the way we kind of went with it. Jimmy's going to end up playing the 2 next to Steph Curry. I know Jimmy Butler is probably not a perfect modern-day fit at the shooting guard spot in today's NBA, but I wanted to have Kuminga in the starting 5, and that was kind of the only way, at least in my mind, that we could make that happen here for year 1. So Jimmy will be playing the 2 next to Steph again. I don't know the way they'll do it in real life. They'll probably do a lot of trial and error, but that's how it's going to be for now. You got Kuminga here at the 3, Draymond at the 4, and then TJD will remain our starting center. Bench unit will be led by Brandon Pajemski. He's going to be the backup 2. Obviously, we acquired Mike Conley. You can ignore that, for real life purposes. It's obviously not going to be the case. Kevon Looney will be the backup center. You got Moses Moody playing the backup 3, and then Guy Santos is behind Draymond. I'm hoping he can develop quite nicely. Unfortunately for Buddy Hield, he's just kind of out of this rotation completely at this point, which honestly, I don't know if many Warriors fans would be super disappointed if that was actually the case. So that's what we're working with. Again, real life, there's more than 10-man rotations normally for at least the regular season, but here in 2K in a completely unrealistic world, here's how it's going to work. So I'm excited. I think this team can make some noise. I think we'll definitely be a playoff team. The one thing I'm not certain about is how much are we really contending for a championship right now. So we'll find out together. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. First season here in Golden State ends with a record of 47-35. All things considered, we technically started this video at 25-24, so 1 game above 500 versus where we ended up. I'll definitely take it. Nikola Jokic, he is your MVP. Alex Sarr ends up winning Rookie of the Year. Peyton Pritchard, your 6th man. Wemby wins Depoy, and then Thompson, Most Improved. Jokic wins Clutch Player of the Year, and Thibs over there in New York is your Coach of the Year. So let's go ahead and take a look. You can see we are in the play-in, which, always a possibility. We can maybe sneak into the playoffs, whether it's going to be a 7 or an 8 seed, but we'll sort that out. Here's a look at the East. All right, let's talk about the numbers real quick. Again, these are going to be somewhat skewed because it's going to bring over Jimmy's season numbers from Miami as well. So the real understanding of what this team will look like will probably not be until next year, but here's a partial look and a partial understanding at least. So Steph was obviously really good. Jimmy Butler ended up, I guess, technically being our second leading scorer. You got Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, who, again, didn't actually play for us in this version of the rebuild. TJD, Pajemski, Moody, Conley, Draymond, and then Looney. Now, the rebounding department was led by Trace Jackson Davis, and assist was Draymond Green. All right, it's us and the Clippers here. If we win this, we're the 7 seed. We lose this, we'll play the winner of 9 versus 10. This Clippers team has been a big surprise this season. I was wrong about them. I did not think they were going to be a playoff team, but it certainly looks like they're on their way for now. All right, here goes nothing. We lose that game, which means we are going to potentially end up as the 8 seed if we are able to beat the Phoenix Suns. You got Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. I don't know if Kevin Durant gets moved in real life. At this point, at the time I'm recording this, he has not been. You guys have seen this one midday on Thursday. And then finally Mason Plumlee. So let's see what happens here. Can we end up with that 1 seed? We cannot. We lose 2 play-in games and do not make the playoffs here in year 1. That is sad. That is sad. Disappointing ending. It's going to be Anthony Davis. Feels like I always, in these rebuilds, at least this week, have seen the Mavericks make the finals in year 1, going up against Cat in the New York Knicks. All right, let's see what happens here in the finals. Dallas wins it all. Oh, my God. All right, Anthony Davis, finals MVP. All right, we're going to have to keep an eye on this. We are an older team, at least in terms of star power, so we are going to have to make sure that none of our players retire. Klay Thompson calling it a career again, an old friend. Okay, I think we're good. Staff retirements, Hall of Fame inductees CP3 and Russell Westbrook, kind of obvious. And then, yeah, a lot of names here, man. We're retiring Klay Thompson's jersey, as they certainly will be doing in real life. So as far as my understanding is, the first-round draft pick that was included in this deal from Golden State that was sent to Miami, it is top 10 protected in 25, which of course is this year. It will obviously be outside the top 5, so Miami's going to have it. If for God knows what reason everything goes to shit and the pick ends up in the top 10 this year, Golden State will keep it. Next season it will be in the top 10 or top 10 protected once again, and so on and so forth. And then 2027, I guess it would be that point, it's completely unprotected. So I think we're on the same page. We're not going to be in the lottery. It is the Trailblazers, who have been unbelievably hot as of lately. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Hornets, Pistons, Magic, and then Jazz. We're going to hang on to Steve Kerr. That is like a 10-year younger version of Steve Kerr that's been, again, hitting that same pose and that same stupid fucking picture since like 2K16. So we will not have our first round pick this year, which honestly kind of sucks, but it's okay. We're going to skip over the draft entirely. Pajemski, Guy Santos will both be brought back. I will be qualifying Jonathan Kuminga, as I do think he's going to be a very important piece for this team heading into year number 2. So no real offers for him. We're just going to pay him about $25, $26 million annually. And then I'll bring back Kevon Looney. He's obviously a veteran player that's seen a lot of different things. These are just the auto-generated players that 2K signed for me. Not auto-generated, but auto-signings. They're not auto-generated. All right, Kuminga, Looney, welcome back. I certainly have some trades to make before we head up all the way to year number 2. I'm not really sure why the Detroit Pistons are willing to trade us Jaden Ivey and Tobias Harris for Draymond Green and Buddy Hield, but we're going to make this trade. We're going to do it for a couple reasons. First and foremost, we know how 2K's regression works. We're already going to be dealing with the regression of Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. I don't really want to have to worry about Draymond as well. Second reason would be Draymond is entering a contract year. He's going to be expiring after this upcoming season. And then the final reason is that Draymond Green's real impact is not felt nearly as much in 2K as it is in real life. So, yeah. Again, I think the Warriors could certainly entertain some Draymond Green offers this offseason. Not that this is a realistic one whatsoever, but it is the one we are going to be taking. So, also doing this deal is going to allow Jimmy Butler to maybe move back to his more natural position these days of small forward. And then what we're going to do is just move Kuminga. Wow, he goes down 3 overalls at power forward. That is just disgusting. But he's going to be playing the 4. You know, fine fit for a modern NBA power forward. So yeah, that's it for now. What I would like to do is also consider some possibilities to upgrade our center position. I know we did just bring back Kevon Looney, but honestly, I think if we want any real chance of being competitive, I think we just need a pretty decent sized upgrade anyways. So that's one big trade in the books. I definitely think I have one more to go. And then really, just God bless the Miami Heat. God bless the Miami Heat. Mike Conley, who we obviously got last season at the deadline, and then Tobias Harris, who of course we just acquired from Detroit, are going over to Miami. We're getting Khalil Ware in return along with Duncan Robinson. So I know in terms of the overall department, Khalil Ware is not a major upgrade. TJD's a 79, Ware's an 80, but he's going to develop well. He's going to continue to progress, and I would certainly take him over Trace Jackson Davis, at least here in this world. So that's the deal. I'm not sure what we're going to do with Duncan Robinson, but he is here. He is a contract that we could look to trade as well. I'm a little bit, not disappointed, but I did end up paying Kevon Looney for him to probably just be out of the rotation for now. But we are going to look to obviously find a new backup point guard. So whether that means it's somebody for Duncan Robinson, I don't really know. If not, I'll just take some draft capital, and then we will certainly look to sign somebody if not. So who wants to give me a draft pick? Thank you very much, Charlotte. All right, point guard options are not great by any means. Honestly, I'll take Markelle Fultz. If anybody's going to be able to fix Markelle Fultz, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Golden State Warriors, who I believe Markelle Fultz, he has not played a game this season, correct? I don't think he's played a game for any team at all, but he's going to be behind Steph here again, only 27 years old, so getting a little bit younger there as well. And this is going to be the new 10-man rotation as we head into year number 2. Okay, it is time for our second season here in Golden State. It, of course, will be our first full season with this team, and we had a pretty busy offseason. We obviously made a lot of moves that I think are going to benefit this team greatly. We are kind of fighting father time right now in some ways because, Steph Curry's not going to see crazy regression. Jimmy honestly didn't go down a ton, but he is going down, and neither of them are going to really be going up in any way, shape, or form. So we added some young talent here with Jaden Ivey and Khalil Ware. I do think those are two moves that are going to benefit this team greatly, and this is how it shook out. It is Steph and Jaden Ivey here in the backcourt. You got Jimmy now maybe back to the 3, his more natural position. Kuminga back to the 4, and then finally Khalil Ware, who is going to be our new starting center. Now the bench unit will still be led by Brandon Pajemski. TJD slides into the backup center role. Moses Moody remains the backup 3. Guy Santos the backup power forward, and finally we did bring in Markelle Fultz, who, playing 10 minutes tonight. At least he's young and not going to regress. I guess that's the one positive we have going there. So that's the team. Again, first full season here. Hopefully it is a successful one, because I would like to be in the playoffs and contending for a championship. See you guys at the end of year 2. This season brought some pretty nice surprises for us here. We go 66-16. Well, I don't really know. I knew we were going to be better than last year as a whole, right? We had a full season, of course, now with Jimmy and Steph together. We obviously brought in some nice complementary pieces, but I didn't really see a world where this was a 66-win team, but I guess 2K certainly did, and I guess that's all that really matters at the end of the day. What is this? Nikola Jokic's 12th MVP award. Cooper Flagg ends up winning Rookie of the Year. You got Josh Giddey, who is now back in Oklahoma City, taking home 6th Man of the Year. Wemby wins another DPOY. You got Marcus Sasser, Most Improved. John Morant, Clutch Player of the Year. our guy, Steve Kerr. Like, Steve Kerr, I'm not even kidding. He like, doesn't even look like that anymore. Like, he does. You understand what I'm saying, though? Like, he's older. He's, like, almost 10 years older from where the time this picture was actually taken. It's the same stupid pose, and I don't know why it gets me so mad. What really irks me is just how fucking lazy these developers are at 2K. It's ridiculous. All right, we're the 1 seed. Certainly did not think that was going to be the case, but we are 5 games up on the Dallas Mavericks, and over here in the East, it is New York taking the conference, at least in terms of win-losses. All right, here are the numbers. A full season. Jimmy Butler's numbers are, not great. I'll give him that, but they kind of just are what they are at this point. We obviously have some other scoring options, so it's okay. Rebounding department, Khalil Ware, and assist is also Jimmy Butler. Okay, round 1. It is us in Memphis. Not my favorite matchup in the world, but again, the West is such a gauntlet that there is not a ton of real favorable matchups anyways. Okay, quick 2-0 lead for us. They do win Game 3 at home. We win Game 4, and we are on to the West Semis to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rob Dillingham is developing quite nicely. Anthony Edwards, they have now acquired Chris Middleton. Did they trade Rudy Gobert to get Chris Middleton? Okay. Let's see what happens here in the Western Conference semifinals. Quick 2-0 lead for us. We also win Game 3. We sweep them out of their own building. What a run. What a run. And I haven't had a ton of, problems throughout these rebuilds, like getting to a finals, winning a championship. If I have, it is typically at the hands of Victor Wembanyama. So I'm a little scared right now. Of course, De'Aaron Fox now we're here with him as well. Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Sohan, Stephon Castle. I mean, this team is young, but they are really, really good. So not great. Not a good. Oh, my God. I told you. I told you it was happening. All right, let's just go quick. And I just want to see what the conference finals numbers are here. Dude. Oh, my God. Oh, I mean, nobody was good, right? I need more out of these two. Khalil Ware, I mean, that's okay. But my God, Jimmy, I know you're 36. But how bad do you want a championship, right? I mean, you don't have one. Come on, brother. Oh, my God. All right. It's okay. It is what it is. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs going up against, wow, holy shit, Jalen Brunson. What a dog. All right, here in the finals, New York wins it. Jalen Brunson, finals MVP. All right, we got to pay attention to this real quick. We have got to pay attention and make sure that neither Steph nor Jimmy Butler called it a career, because if they did, I am going to override it for the final season. All right, we're good. All right, staff retirements. Popovich calling it a career. Hall of Fame inductees, LeBron James. LeBron gets his jersey retired by 3 franchises. Oh, shit, did Draymond retire? I guess I traded him at the right point. Draft lottery time. We will have our first round pick. It will not be in the lottery. It is going to be all the way there at number 29, which isn't great, but it's fine. Steve Kerr will hang on to you, buddy, but you are approaching thin ice pretty slowly, but it's the final season. We also have 18 from the Cavs. Not exactly sure where that came from. Could we maybe? 1 second. Even with the Khalil Ware addition, I am of the opinion that this team still needs a major upgrade somewhere, right? We need somebody with a higher overall in this starting 5, and Jared Allen would obviously provide that. So I don't love giving up Moses Moody. I think he has been an important bench piece, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to prioritize starters over bench players. So Kevon Looney also in this deal. This is the later of the 2 first-round picks. It is our own technically at number 29. So let's see. You want to do that? They want Markelle Fultz, the 18th overall pick, and they'll give me a future first. It's fine. Nobody we draft this year was really going to help us anyways, and we had no other picks, right? Okay. Team player options, Pajemski, Ware, and TJD, all will be brought back. Ivy and Santos, I definitely want to qualify. And then here in free agency, we don't have anybody major, but especially Jaden Ivey, you got to pay him. So we're good there. I think there are maybe 1 or 2 other changes to the bench unit I'm going to look to make, but I think the starting 5 should be locked in place for the most part. So got to find ourselves a new backup point guard, new backup small forward as well. Unfortunately means that Trace Jackson Davis is probably on his way out. Just think he has more value than anybody else we could trade. And again, he's not really of a position of need right now. So we could bring back Schroeder. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world. Derek Jones Jr. actually might be a pretty solid pickup. Jamal Shed also here. I think I'm still leaning DJJ. All right, let's do that. Let's go get Derek Jones Jr. there. He is a member of the Clippers. We're going to move him to the small forward spot where his overall should go up a few, up to an 81. Beautiful. And then we'll sign a backup point guard here, kind of similar to last year. Not really. Wait, what? Didn't I just trade Markelle? You know what? I'm not going to ask questions. This game's completely broken 9 times out of 10, so welcome back, Markelle. All right, I will just see you guys at the start of the final regular season. Last year, we had an unbelievably fun regular season, got off to a super hot start in the playoffs, and then got our ass kicked by the up-and-coming Spurs. in the Western Conference Finals. Now, we knew we had to make an upgrade this offseason. We did that with the addition of Jarrett Allen, and my one question now is it enough, right? I think it is. I hope it is. And it's really just all going to depend how things kind of go for us in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, no shit, right? But, like, I just think we need some more consistent play when it comes to April and May. Hopefully it is the time for that. Steph Curry, Jaden Ivey, Jimmy Butler, I'm not sure how he's not regressing at this point. He's, I don't know, but it's fine. He's still not, great. He'll probably put up like 13, 14 points a game, but it's fine. Kuminga, who is not developing as much as I thought he would, so these two are kind of, I guess, making it an even exchange, if you will. And then, of course, got Jarrett Allen, who's going to be a really big addition for us. Bench unit is, I would say, easily the best it's been with progression. Got Pajemski here, Khalil Ware slides to the backup 5. Derek Jones Jr., we obviously just brought in, still got Guy Santos, and then Markelle Fultz somehow made his way back here. I'm not really sure. All right, man, that is where we're at. I will see you guys at the end of the final regular season. Nikola Jokic wins his 20th or whatever MVP award of his career. I'm not really sure how to say this. 2K liked this team. That would be an understatement. 75-7. I don't question the records I have in this game anymore because I say this every time this happens, but I put together some God squads in this game. And again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I've had some really, really good teams that have struggled to like crack the 60 win mark. And then again, no disrespect to the team we have now, but they're not nearly as good as maybe one would have, thought a 75-win team would look like, because that doesn't really exist. But it is what it is. I'll take it. I'm just hoping we're not regular season merchants and they kind of fail in the final or the playoffs. So we'll see. Cameron Boozer is in Oklahoma City. He's your Rookie of the Year. Anthony Simons, now a member of the Atlanta Hawks, takes home 6th man. Wemby wins another DPOY. You got VJ Edgecombe, Most Improved. De'Aaron Fox is now a Clipper. Holy shit. Clutch Player of the Year. And, good old Steve. I don't know how we're 75-7. I don't. I've done a lot of rebuilds in my time. A lot. And never fails to amaze me. All right, so obviously it's the 1 seed and the best record in the league, and I'm just hoping that it's playoff time. I'm ready to win. It's basically what I'm trying to say. So there are the numbers. You guys know my philosophy. I don't care who does what as long as we're winning basketball games. Us in Memphis here. I believe we faced them in round 1 in year 1. They've moved on from Jaren Jackson Jr. and replaced him with John Collins. That is certainly a choice. Let's see what happens here up against Memphis. Quick 2-0 lead for us. They take game 3. We take game 4. And we are on to the Western Conference semifinals. Now, Denver, not my... what the... oh, come on. How do you get Damian Lillard? Did you trade Michael Porter Jr. for him? Oh, give me a fucking break here, 2K. All right, well, I don't know why I'm complaining. We won 75. You know what? And, of course, it is the Spurs. The good news is that De'Aaron Fox is not here anymore. The bad news is that this guy is still here. And, obviously the best player in the series. I'm a little nervous. I probably shouldn't be, but okay, maybe. I don't know. Time for the NBA Finals, and it is a rematch of the 2019 NBA Finals. That series was fun, even with the injuries. James... oh, God. Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Isaiah Hartenstein. It's funny. I mean, either Harden or Jimmy Butler is going to end up with a ring here. And very well could be the final year of both their careers. So let's see. Can we get this done and get a little revenge on the Warriors for 2019? It looks like we are going to be able to do so. We are heading to Toronto here for a closeout game 4. And I would like to get this done right now if possible. Is that possible? We're going back and forth here. All right. I'll try to focus, but I want to give a little extra time. I know this video is going to be long as hell, but we can just discuss Jimmy and this whole situation. Actually, one sec. All right, I'll see you in there. I have to somewhat pay attention, just because, again, I mean, I don't really have to. If we lose this game, we're probably still going to end up winning the series. But, I want to make sure that I, have my full thoughts here on this Jimmy Butler deal. And, the blockbuster deal that I believe is now actually, if I'm checking my notifications correctly, is now turned into a 4-team deal. It looks like in real life, the Toronto Raptors actually are out of this deal. So yeah, it's still crazy. It doesn't really make, any difference. So my thing with this is basically what I said at the beginning of the video, and I'll try to expand on it a little bit. This team, or this trade obviously makes the Warriors better, right? I think Andrew Wiggins was an important part of that foundation. He was obviously a pivotal piece of that championship team in 2022. But I think that Warriors front office kind of finally accepted that, Steph Curry and some nice complementary role players probably not going to be getting it done, especially with the landscape of the West. So, I understand that Jimmy Butler is a bit older at this point and, obviously not what he once was, but I think it's still a move that can get them somewhere. I don't know if it's to a championship. I don't know if it's getting Steph his 5th ring, because if I were to bet right now if Steph and Jimmy are going to get another a championship together, I think my answer would be no. And it's not a shot. It's not me saying that this trade is terrible for the Warriors, because in all honesty, they didn't give up a lot. The one thing that makes me nervous is the extension that they did just give Jimmy before he even played a single game for them. I mean, it was probably a big part and a big requirement for Jimmy before actually saying, this is okay, I'm not going to hold out here as well. It just makes me nervous because it's about $60 million annually. And, I understand the NBA is constantly changing. Basically $30 million is the new like $50 million. You know what I'm saying? Or other way around. $30 million is like the new 15. Whatever. You understand what I'm saying. $60 million is still a lot of money. And for that to be on your books when Jimmy's going to be like 37, 38 years old, is a scary thought, right? And at the end of the day, none of it will be important. None of it's going to matter to anybody if this, duo is able to get over the hump, I guess, and get that championship together. My opinion right now is that it's just not super likely, right? I think this offseason we'll really find out how committed this Warriors team is to, spending what it's going to take and giving up the assets that it's going to take, because I don't think this season, given where they are in the standings, given where, really the rest of the roster is at, that this is going to be a championship team. I mean, again, I don't want to doubt Steph Curry. It's stupid to do so, but I just think that this is a team that will probably end up in the playoffs somehow. But I just think they're likely going to be a first-round exit. It might be a tough first-round exit, but I do think they're a first-round exit. I'm taking terrible shots right now, I know. I'm focused on my discussion. I do think that there are a lot of things they could do this offseason, though. I think there are a lot of moves that they could make. I'm sure some more names will pop up, and I'm sure there is a way for them to go out and acquire another player, likely going to be in his mid to late 30s. It's just how it's going to work. And they can pair him up with whoever it is that is still on this Warriors team. But I like it. I'm happy that the Warriors front office is doing right by Steph. At least on paper, they are getting him some help that is obviously needed, right? This Warriors team, nobody pre this trade considered them a serious threat this year in the Western Conference. So, good God, I'm just getting dicked on all over. All right, man. We'll do this real quick. We'll probably just throw up a couple more shots again. We're probably not going to win this game, but we're up 3-0. We should be fine. I guess I should get a little gameplay here with the guy who the video's about here, and Jimmy Butler. I'm hoping Jimmy can kind of go back to not his old self. I don't know if that version's ever coming back, but just the self that's like, getting to the free throw line and really just playing aggressive on both ways. I think that's really what the Warriors are kind of hoping for, and probably what they're almost expecting after handing him $120 million before actually stepping on the floor in a Warriors jersey. That's offensive. That's on Steph? Really? Okay. Those are my thoughts, though, right? I think it helps in the short term. I'm not sure how much long term it's going to be, like 5 years down the line. But I think, again, doing right by Steph. And this is also a move that probably, I don't think Steph is the kind of guy that would ever request a trade, right? I don't think the Warriors would ever, logically try to think about trading Steph unless he, said it's okay, you can go ahead and do it. But at this point of his career, if they didn't do anything, this deadline or this offseason, it just doesn't make sense to keep wasting the back nine of Steph Curry's career, in my opinion. So I'm happy that it does not appear that they are doing that. I'm happy that they are getting him some help, and I'll be excited to watch them together. It's going to be really, really fun to see those two pair up, even if it's, not for 5-10 years. So those are just my thoughts. Excited, man. Gotta love the NBA. Even every single time, everybody's like, nope, NBA's dying, ratings are down, viewership's down. Shit like this just seems to put all those conversations to bed. So we're not going to be winning this game, but I'll see you guys for game 5. Unfortunately, we could not finish the sweep, so we have lost our second game of the playoffs, but we get it. Nope. 2K, I swear to Christ, I swear to God, don't do this to me. Please just hold a lead. Should be good, hypothetically speaking. Okay, we cap it off with a championship and Steph Curry, his 5th ring of his career and his 2nd career finals MVP. Holy shit, got it done. All right, man. Jimmy Butler, finally been traded. Months and months and months of trade talk and just really Jimmy being unhappy. And, in terms of the return, which I guess we didn't really talk about, which we will certainly discuss more in depth once we do the Miami version of this, probably next week. But, I think I look at this and I say that I'm happy that Miami got something. Andrew Wiggins is better than just a salary filler that you're going to buy out. And again, I do think the draft pick could be valuable, right? Is it going to be, a top 3 pick? No, it's just probably never going to be the case. But, if it's in that kind of low teens area, if it's at number 13, number 14, it's not a terrible return, especially given the way the Miami Heat are able to develop talent. So we'll get a lot more into that once we do the Miami version of this next week. But again, you gotta love the NBA, man. It's always stuff like this that just makes me love it even more as a fan. And I'm really excited to see this duo because I hope Jimmy is back to, whatever version of Jimmy Butler we're getting these days. I hope it is a good one. I hope it is a talented one. And it's gonna be fun. It really is. So I don't know if that's it for Blockbusters. It may or may not be. Who really knows at this point? It is such a crazy league that we all love. So that's gonna do it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.